Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Welcome to this week's Kulturecast. I'm your host, Eric Kniss, and I am joined, as always, by the galactic, cosmic butthole himself, Chris Stachiw.
Wow, this is like being in the passenger seat of your own car. That's what I could liken that to. You completely caught me off guard. You had it going there for a second, and it was like it's like when that guy, there's like that famous video of that pole vaulter who's jumping over the pole and he gets right over it, and then his dick hits it. You were right there, and then you hit it with your dick.
I mean, that's not hard to do when your dick is as big as mine.
Oh, spicy. This podcast starting off spicy. Holy shit. I
apologize to any women who are currently listening to this. That is the last time I will talk about my dick in this episode.
But if you want to know about it, DM me on Twitter.
Yeah, if you want to find out the truth.
Slide into those DMs. Like
yeah, you
Jackie
can slide into
Robinson.
my... Oh, God. Head first, if you know what I mean. Oh!
Speaking of Black History Month, and speaking of films, I don't know, Jackie Robinson, it's still
Speaking
February.
of Black History Month, here's
I
a
said
movie that
Jack
has
slide into my
nothing to do with
DMs
that.
like Jackie Robinson, Jesus Christ. I am prepared to get railroaded for how much I love this film. I don't know about you.
I don't give a shit what anybody says. This movie's amazing.
We're talking about Alex Garland's adaptation, in quotations, of Jeff VanderMeer's Annihilation, the first book in his 3-part Southern Reach trilogy. The film is directed by Alex Garland and stars, well, most notably Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, who played Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok, and Jason Leigh of Fuck Me Under the Bleachers fame, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That's what I always know her. Whenever I think of Jason Leigh.
I always think of that weird movie from the 90s, Existenz.
Oh my God. There's something wrong with you. With Jude Law.
What do you mean? That movie's amazing. It's so weird.
It's Cronenberg, so I'm a fan, but I always just think of her as like the 16-year-old who just wants to get banged by older men.
Oh, yeah. I think this shows something about both of us.
Right. Where we're drawing from.
Yeah, I guess.
Can you describe its form?
No.
Start from the beginning.
What do you think I do when you're away? You think I'm out in the garden pining, looking up at the sky? Why aren't you here?
I gotta leave a day early.
Your husband's here.
Let me see him.
He's extremely ill.
You have to tell me where he was, what he was doing.
It was his decision to go in. It's something they termed the Shimmer. We've sent in drones and teams of people, but nothing comes back.
But something has.
You're a biologist. You served in the military.
If I knew what happened, I could save his life.
The boundary's getting bigger, it's expanding. We're talking cities, states.
You need to know what's inside. So do I. It's beautiful.
Check this out.
It's like they're stuck in a continuous mutation.
Anything interesting in there?
No. Sharks have teeth like that. Not possible. You can't crossbreed different species. What is it?
The soldiers on the last expedition.
They went crazy. Or something in here killed them. Something's come through the fence. Through the fence? We have to go back. I can't go back.
We can camp here tonight. It's destroying everything.
It's not destroying. It's making something new.
So Eric, what did you think of Annihilation?
Oh man, I loved it. It checked all the boxes for me. You know, it's slow paced, psychologically, like existential, sort of cosmic, like terrifying sci-fi.
It's weird sci-fi. It's very Lovecraft.
But it's also like hard sci-fi too. It's like I don't know. Yeah, it's very.
Well, you are thrown into the deep end of this universe.
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very quickly, and it is almost like it is jarring.
And they explain
in a way that sci-fi, in a way that sci-fi is not anymore.
Yeah,
sci-fi is not like this anymore.
Everybody wants to ease you into it, and everybody has to like give you, bite-sized pieces of information that you can sort of chew on and marinate with, and then they move on to the next thing. And this movie just like throws all of this insane stuff at you without explaining any of it, and then just immediately moves on to something else that is equally somehow more terrifying and more puzzling than the last thing that just happened. So, and it just keeps going like that the whole movie. Like there were several times during this movie that I audibly went, "What the fuck?" So yeah.
Well, and as far as I'm concerned, if that was your reaction, which there were several scenes in the film where that was my reaction as well, I think that the film succeeded. But I think the film is also a massive failure from a commercial standpoint, and the numbers reflect that. But I don't think that was ever not going to be the case, because this film is not the kind of film that was ever going to be financially successful mainstream.
Well, and I think the studio was like pissed about this movie.
Well, yeah, look what they did. Look what they did, Paramount, again. They dumped it on goddamn Netflix.
Well, and I think part of that is, okay, so...
And look, we're talking about this again within a month of already talking about it.
So yeah, we're going to compare this movie to the Cloverfield Paradox, which is kind of hard to do because they're, I don't know, they're so different.
They're different because the Cloverfield Paradox doesn't really have, no offense to anyone in that film, it doesn't really have a super big name in it. I mean, Natalie Portman is, I would consider to be a big name.
She's an Oscar winner.
Yeah, well, so is Cuba Gooding Jr., but before he did The People versus OJ, I mean, he did Snow Dog, so, winning an Oscar doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Whatever, who cares? Have you won an Oscar? Because I fucking haven't.
No, but I'm not sure I've done anything to warrant winning an Oscar.
Well, there you go. I think Natalie Portman should have won an Oscar for her portrayal of Queen Amidala in the...
There's fucking something wrong with you.
I can't even finish the sentence. It's bad. Anyways, let's get back on track. I'm going to compare Annihilation to the Cloverfield Paradox for a hot second, and then I'm going...
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output, and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
To not do that again.
But it deserves to be compared to it.
Because the situation, the circumstances are similar enough that they warrant some comparison. The problem, at least from what I have read with Annihilation, is Alex Garland got a budget far greater than his budget for Ex Machina to make this movie. And after it was finished, the studio tested it, and it tested really poorly because most people who go to see movies don't go to see movies like this movie.
They don't go to see movies that challenge you. So, this movie will challenge you philosophically and cerebrally on a level that most audiences aren't comfortable with their films.
Right. And so...
Wink, wink, why Blade Runner 2049 failed as well.
Also, yes, another movie that I think is totally comparable to Annihilation, but for different, better reasons. Then what happens is Alex Garland says, like, okay, no, I'm not going to change my movie because this is the movie that you guys wanted me to make. This is my film. Like, I don't care if it tests poorly. Like, this is what we did. And then the producer or one of the executive producers basically backs up Alex Garland and says, yeah, no, we're not going to change the movie. Like, this is the movie that I paid for, and this is what, we wanted all along, and now you guys are changing your minds because it tested badly. Like, that's bullshit. So the studio is now prepared to...
Bullshit, but not surprising, mind you.
Right. And now the studio is prepared to basically just dump this movie because they're like, well... this movie is testing poorly. It's going to do bad. Like, fuck this movie. What do we care? Like, blah, 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 blah. And they have now cut a partial deal with Netflix so that Netflix picked up the tab on, I think, half of the distribution. Maybe it was like the distribution in Europe or something like that.
It is. Netflix picked up the tab for international distribution.
Yeah. So, and then I am going to assume that means that this movie is going to be on Netflix like soon.
Let me put it this way. If I had a Plex server, which I do, and I had access to news groups or a way to find movies, this movie will be able to be watched in the comfort of my own home within the next 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that you'll be able to watch
March 12th.
Yeah, you'll be able to watch this movie on Netflix really, really soon. Which is great and also terrible at the same time because this movie is such a cinematically beautiful movie that it is such a shame that so many people are going to watch this movie on a tiny TV in their house as opposed to watching it on a gigantic screen, which is what you should be doing. It's a shame that this movie got dumped to Netflix because it didn't get dumped to Netflix because it's bad. It got dumped to Netflix because the studio didn't like it. That is a different thing than the Cloverfield Paradox getting dumped onto Netflix because the Cloverfield Paradox is a complete mess and a semi-total disaster of a movie. I like parts of that movie, but it's really choppy and thrown together and it feels really mismatched and everything like that. This movie is getting dumped to Netflix for seemingly like almost political reasons, not like actual politics, but movie politics. As opposed to like it being, good or bad.
Which, yes, is a thing.
No, totally. And so, Alex Garland refuses to play the studio game and refuses to make a movie for the studios and wants to make a movie for himself and for, people who like this kind of shit. And you know what? Fucking keep doing that, dude, because after Ex Machina and especially Annihilation, I look forward to any and all future, Alex Garland projects. So
it's astounding to me that they were giving him the runaround after Ex Machina.
Oh, especially after the budget that they gave him for this movie, which was like, what, 10 times the budget of Ex Machina? More than
Something
10 times?
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
They were just,
insane.
they were giving him the runaround. And to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, they're like, oh, this is the guy who did Ex Machina, which was like
Oscar nominated.
Yeah. It's an amazing movie, and I will be really surprised if Annihilation's not Oscar nominated.
I won't be surprised.
Yeah. Whatever, but.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I don't know, man. After the Oscar nominees from this year, I am confused about what constitutes an Oscar-nominated movie now. So I have no opinion.
I'm with you. I'm with you there.
So yeah, but it's besides the point. This movie is fantastic. It's so. Without getting into spoilers immediately, I don't know. It makes you think, and it sort of like opens your eyes in such a way that most movies just don't. So
well,
yeah.
I think for me also, it's a film that it does what science fiction films don't do anymore. It takes chances. It's telling a story.
Yeah.
And a lot of sci-fi movies they're not interested in telling these kinds of stories anymore. And like that is a fucking shame.
Yeah. No, and I want to see stuff that and that's the whole thing with science fiction is I want to see things.
You're supposed to question things.
Yeah. And I want to see shit that I have literally never even thought of before. Like somebody came up with this insane.
Well, hold on. So this is the other thing that you have to understand, and you may not know this. The book Annihilation and this are wildly different. Like this is almost just Annihilation in name only.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's like surprising or not to you, but
no, I don't know. I was talking to one of my friends who has read the first book in the series, and I haven't talked to him yet about the movie because I don't know if he's seen it, but the way that he was telling it to me was that this movie is more a combination of the first 3 books.
Yes.
As opposed to the first book.
From what I can tell, the books also focus more on the government agency.
Yeah, the books are it's all multi-timeline stuff, but the books like all cover the same timelines from like different perspectives, I think. At least that's what somebody was telling me.
Natalie Portman's character doesn't even have a name in the books.
Yeah.
And the book is focused on something else.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm interested to read the books because the books sound interesting in their own right, as a completely separate thing that maybe lives in a universe that is similar to or tangential or the same universe as the movie. But it feels like the movie was definitely like a fully streamlined, cinematic version of, whatever Alex Garland thought were the important moments of the books that maybe the books like didn't, hone in on as much as he wanted to. I don't know. Whenever a book gets made into a movie, I'm always like wondering about the adaptation and how much Alex Garland and Jeff VanderMeer. Is Jeff VanderMeer even still alive?
Yeah, no, he is.
I don't know. Because I don't know when these books were written. I'm assuming they were written like fairly recently.
They were written in the last 10 years.
Yeah. So, I don't know how much they worked together on the story, at least to like put stuff together or things like that, or if it's really just, if Jeff VanderMeer just got, a payout and just said like, hey, we're going to make your book into a movie. And he's like, cool, yeah, go for it. I don't know how any of that works. But what I do know is however it happened, it worked out, I think, in a really amazing way without having read the books, which I am now going to go back and do.
And I think for me, as someone who likes weird fiction, because this is weird fiction.
Oh, yeah. Total, like, classic weird fiction, as you said, like, very...
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Lovecraftian, very like weird science.
Not like putting Kelly Brock together from a computer weird science, but like just
weird science as in like weird science like 1920s,
right?
Like like pulp novels. Like science fiction stuff from like a long fucking time ago, yeah.
Which, and again, for me, like that, we don't get to see this represented very often in science fiction anymore. And I think that, I mean, like we've talked about this and we've lamented this on multiple occasions. Yeah. The inability of the studios to ever make the fucking Mountains of Madness film.
Or any successful Lovecraft adaptation ever.
Well,
literally not one.
In the Mouth of Madness is about, I think, as close as we've gotten. And that's not even technically a...
Yeah, I mean, that movie is literally more... I don't know.
It's a 90s spin on it, but it is not, it's not Lovecraft the way that... It's not Lovecraft in a way that, like, most people are used to. It's a Lovecraft by way of John Carpenter.
It's Lovecraft through a Stephen King lens by way of John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, there are Lovecraftian elements in that movie, but, like, I don't know. I'm talking, like, I want to see cosmic horror, true, like, Lovecraftian, like, I don't know, like the first Hellboy has like all these like cool Lovecraftian elements to it, and it would have been awesome to see some of that stuff like be a bigger part of that franchise. And then that franchise sort of died after the second one, and so we never got to like see any of that become something. And of course the Mountains of Madness, $120 million 3D monstrosity starring Tom Cruise never happened. So Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe movies like this movie will sort of lead up to one day we will get a Lovecraft film or TV show or something that is like worth, your time. But for now, we'll have to settle for stuff that is Lovecraftian only in feeling and not in name.
Right. Well, and I think, like you said, I think that this is about as close as it gets.
Yeah, and definitely like in recent years, like, movies, there are plenty of movies that are very Lovecraftian. You could say that Alien is Lovecraftian. You could say that The Thing is a Lovecraftian, movie or whatever. And this movie sort of like, I think hits a number of the like cosmic horror checkboxes that a lot of movies just don't. Ever. Like the feeling of paranoia and unease and dread that follows you through this whole movie, like all the way through the end of it, is insane. And movies just don't have that now.
No, and here's the thing, and I'll go out on a limb here and say this. I don't really think that this is a horror movie. No. I think that it's being advertised as such.
I mean, maybe,
but that's because I legitimately don't think they have any clue how to advertise this movie.
I wouldn't know how to advertise it either. Yeah, it's very much,
and that's really disappointing because they're kind of stranding this film.
Yeah, and I think part of that is on purpose.
Part of that's just because this film doesn't go into a genre.
Sure, yeah, it's a film that is hard to categorize and hard to talk about. because it makes you think, and it's not easily quantifiable what happens in this movie. I mean, I don't know. We haven't even gotten into what happens in the movie or any spoilers or anything, and I don't even know if we need to or if we should, but
I think the issue is I think to talk about the end of the film, we had to talk spoilers.
Yeah.
But the film itself, I think, is such an interesting ride that it almost would benefit you guys listening if you went into this movie, which, by the way, you should see it as soon as possible, because the likelihood of this film being in theaters for more than a week, I think, is low.
Yeah, I think this is going to be 2 weeks in theaters at the most, and then it's gone, and then it'll be on Netflix.
I think it's in theater. I think it goes out of theaters after this week.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's terrible. I'm going to go see this movie again in theaters this week. So,
but I think to talk about the ending, you have to talk about the spoilers a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you can't leave shit out if we're going to talk about the end.
Yeah, because I think the ending. I think the ending is the weakest part of this movie for me. I feel like the ending feels very much like a studio ending. It feels very much like the studio wanted it this way, and it wanted to leave the audience walking out on a zinger, like a gotcha moment. And I think that really doesn't work for this film.
See, I don't know.
Because this film should be above that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from, but I also don't necessarily agree all the way. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you want to just get into it right now, or do you want to talk about some other shit before we skip straight to the end?
Well, I mean, I think that this kind of boils down to why I think this movie is successful versus why I think this movie's not successful. Is I think that the ending is what studios think, quote unquote, normal audiences would want to see, but then you've got this film that is effectively about self-destruction and destroying yourself, because Natalie Portman's character, she goes into the Shimmer to figure out a way to save her husband, but she's already destroyed their relationship. You find that out through the film.
Yeah.
Which I think it's the most interesting part of this film is Natalie Portman's character and how she destroys her relationship with her husband and tries to find a way to fix it. Yeah.
Well, and that's everybody has lost or has themselves.
Well, all the characters have a reason for being there.
Yeah. And that's hers. Whether it's guilt or loneliness or you have nothing left, like nobody.
They say up front, it's like, this is not a suicide mission.
It's not a suicide mission, but nobody has come back.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I really like how they did that and how they showed you just enough backstory from all the, women who go into the Shimmer with Natalie Portman's character, and how you get just enough backstory from all of them to understand the reasons of like why they are there. And then while in the Shimmer, it's sort of, being there, and, the Shimmer itself or the effects of the Shimmer sort of affect everybody differently, which is also really interesting. And there's a lot of really cool, I think, little things that add up to, what makes this movie great. And I don't feel like the ending cheapens that at all.
No, I don't think that the ending cheapens it. I think the ending is just cheap itself. I think the ending is a cheap ending that feels like it was created by the studio. And it was because Alex Garland said so.
Yeah.
He actually said so. There was an interview with him where they talk about what the ending would have been.
Yeah.
And the ending of the film is not what the ending was going to be original.
So, yeah. So, I mean, he played ball enough with the studio to give them the ending that they wanted, and they still didn't like the movie that he, came up with overall. And I'm sure that fucking pissed him off.
You can't sit here and tell me that you don't feel like the ending feels like it's out of an inferior film.
I mean, yeah, the ending...
It feels like it's out of a cheap-ass fucking Friday night PG-13 horror movie.
Yeah, if it was, it's not the ending that I would have gone with just because it's the easy way out. It's the cop-out ending. Yeah. It definitely fits with the themes of the movie, and it definitely fits with the universe that they spend, like 2 hours or an hour and whatever, like building. And it definitely like brings up some interesting questions that I was talking about with my friend who I went and saw it with today. We were talking about it, for like a couple hours. Like we kept going back to it and just going like, wait, so then if it's like this, then what does that mean? And so I don't know. It works, but it's also, yes, I agree that it is a cheesy ending or whatever. But I mean, at this point, we're splitting hairs.
Well, I mean, I think that the way the film ends plays into the ending of the film and kind of the final the final part of the film. So the whole film is Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Tessa Thompson, Gina Rodriguez? I believe her name is Gina Rodriguez, and Tuva Novotny, who plays she's the geologist. They go into the Shimmer to figure out what it is, because they've sent in soldiers and other people to go in, and they haven't been able to figure out what's going on. So they keep sending them in to try to figure out a way to deal with this, because it's going to eventually take over the entire world. Well, it's going to keep spreading.
It's expanding, and it has been expanding for the last 3 years or whatever. And so they're like, we haven't been able to figure out what the fuck it is. Like, we gotta go in. And from what they say in the movie, all the teams before them have been largely military-based teams, and nobody has come back. And so instead of sending more military people, they send in a bunch of academics and scientists and doctors to like try and scientifically figure this out and see if maybe, the way that they deal with the situation is different than, how the military would deal with it or whatever. And I don't know. It's
And so they're tasked with getting to the lighthouse where this meteorite crashed and finding out if they can stop it.
What is essentially the equivalent to like the center of the maze.
Right. The center of the entire Shimmer is this lighthouse that has, and obviously there's symbolism with that, but there's the meteorite is in this lighthouse.
Right.
And again, so this is where we're going to verge into spoilers. Along the way, some of the characters die. Some of the characters willingly die. Mm-hmm. In the case of Tessa Thompson's character, who just becomes one with the Shimmer. Then you've got other characters that are mauled to death by this horrifying bear creature.
God, that was the most intense sequence. I was fucking losing my shit.
And then you have Jennifer Jason Leigh's character who becomes one with the Shimmer as well. And you find out through them, journeying to this lighthouse that the Shimmer is refracting their DNA. So it's like bending their DNA in upon itself.
Yeah, well,
changing them.
Yeah, it basically acts as a prism for everything. So not just a prism for light or sound or radio waves or anything like that. It is literally everything. So, your DNA, your genetic code, your mental state, your personality, like all of this stuff is then being refracted by the Shimmer. And so people start to show symptoms of this in like interesting different ways, and sort of like everybody's symptoms are a little bit different. Like no two people are sort of affected by the Shimmer in the same way. And there are little things that happen in the movie that I like tried to keep track of or take mental notes, like the tattoo that's on Natalie Portman's arm that was not on her arm when they went into the Shimmer and was on one of the other characters' arm. And so by the end of the movie, I'm like, fuck, when did that happen? Like, I just didn't notice it. Like one scene, the tattoo wasn't there, and then the next scene it was there. So it's like, it's interesting, like how weird, like little things like that. And I want to go see this movie again and try and pick up on as many of those little, Easter eggs, I guess you could call them, like as I can, because I'm sure there's a lot. I'm sure there's enough, that I didn't notice or whatever. But I don't know. It's interesting stuff like that. That then at the very end, when Natalie Portman makes it to the lighthouse and finds Jennifer Jason Leigh under the lighthouse in the sort of like cave.
It's living.
Yeah, it's like a living.
It is a
like,
living
structure.
The walls are breathing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like a structural embodiment of like whatever the Shimmer is.
Right.
I don't know.
Which then decides to come alive.
Yeah, it takes some like weird like humanoid sort of form, and then
Jennifer Jason Leigh's character character
basically
disappears.
Disintegrates.
Right.
And then her matter basically rearranges itself into this like really weird like galactic butthole. And then that turns into like this weird humanoid shape.
It's a doppelganger.
That then begins to copy Natalie Portman to the point where it becomes an exact replica of Natalie Portman.
Right. It just mimics her completely.
Exactly, yeah.
And Natalie Portman's husband, played by Oscar Isaacs, he had the same thing happen to him, unbeknownst to the audience, until right before Natalie Portman ventures into the breathing cave.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was so gnarly on the videotape. Oh.
Where he just, like, self-immolates.
Yeah, but, like, is that him or is that the copy? I think it's him.
He kills himself and the copy survives.
Right.
Which is, and again, this is where, for me, the film becomes kind of goofy. Because now it sounds like a cheap horror movie. Like, just listening to us talk about it sounds like a cheap horror movie.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think...
Well, is it the real one? Like, what is this? Is this like fucking Blade Runner? Is Deckard actually a robot?
Well, that's
what this reminded me of.
Well, that's the ending, though, because what we think of... Because what happens is we find out that the version of Oscar Isaac's character that came back is not actually him, but is a copy of him.
It's the copy of him.
And the version of Natalie Portman that makes it out of the Shimmer is the real Natalie Portman.
We're led to believe, but Natalie Portman is telling this story to Benedict Wong.
Right.
Verbally, which means she may or may not be a unreliable narrator.
Yeah, but...
I know, but you have to factor that into it.
Right. And so the cheap part about it is after what I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say for sure it is the original Natalie Portman makes it out of the Shimmer. She torches the copy because the torched version of Oscar Isaac doesn't become like the weird humanoid thing again. It just burns up and then his skeleton is just sitting there up against the wall. When Natalie Portman does the same thing and torches the copy of herself, it then sort of turns back into the like humanoid thing that looks like it almost had this weird texture to it where it almost looked like a weird claymation like creature, like that's something that like Adam Jones from Tool would make and like put in a Tool music video from the 90s. That's a really obscure reference that like maybe 5 people are going to get. But when you see this movie,
5 people will know exactly what you're talking about.
You'll know exactly what I'm talking about because this totally made me think of that the entire time at the end. So she burns this thing and it turns back into this like sort of shimmery humanoid thing and then crawls back into the cave and then everything sort of disintegrates and the shimmer is gone. But the whole movie cheapens it because at the very end, you see like the same shimmer like around her eyes that are around Oscar Isaac's eyes. And so you're like, wait, so if she made it out of the Shimmer, but she is still somehow a copy of herself, but it was her, like, then what the fuck? Like,
yeah, it's super lame.
Yeah. That's the one thing
because it feels like a fucking cheapo horror movie. And for me, if I'm going to go on this journey with this character, I don't want that at the end to be like a bait and switch. That's like, oh, it was a dream all along. Like, oh, fuck.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster. You know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
You.
No, and I think
fuck off. Like this movie is highbrow, high fiction, high science fiction. And it's all of a sudden going to like the cheapest horror movie trick in the book.
I would have honestly just preferred it if they would have just left the ending exactly the same as it was, but just don't have the shimmer in Natalie Portman's eyes at the very end when she's hugging Oscar Isaacs. Because at that point, she knows that it's not him, but if she can...
Well, and the thing for me is she's already changed anyways.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so
because they show her examining her DNA
right
when she's in the Shimmer, and she sees that she's already changed.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. I think just having that little thing in there like cheapens everything just enough to like irk me a little bit. But at the same time, it works under the context of the movie. So like I can't be super duper pissed at it, but I don't know, whatever. Pick your battles, you know, and this is the ending of this movie is not the hill that I want to die on.
No, but at the same time, the film is so great right up until the ending.
Yeah. I think if they change the ending, you know, a little bit or have, you know, something else happen at the very end, this could be like, you know, potentially top 10 favorite movies of all time, like instantaneously. But I don't know. It's still amazing. It's still like easily one of the best movies I've seen in like the last like 10 years. So,
I mean, I think it's top 10 science fiction films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There is something about this film that I really enjoyed, and I can't pin it on Natalie Portman's performance entirely because I honestly have, to be perfectly honest, I'm not a huge fan of Natalie Portman. I've never found her to be particularly interesting as an actress, but I think a lot of it is her performance. I think the other part is kind of the questions it asks, and I think also is the setting and the way that the film does a lot of the stuff that we're not used to in science fiction. So let's take a quick break, play some messages, and when we get back, we'll finish up talking about the film.
Who is Carl Kolchak?
He's a reporter.
Now that is news, Vincenzo. News! And we are a newspaper. We are supposed to print news, not suppress it.
With the INS.
What's an INS?
Independent news service, sir, founded in 1904 by Enrico Paluzzi.
Who seems to have a nose for the strange and unusual.
Well, last year in Las Vegas, I uncovered a series of murders that turned out to have been committed by a vampire.
And what is the Kolchak Tapes?
It's a podcast.
All about Carl Kolchak.
What's a Kolchak?
The Night Stalker.
And where can you get it?
On iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at www.kolchaktapes.com.
As foolish a game as any that Gory the Ghoul could make up.
Movies have become a portal to a vast and growing pop culture universe, but you don't need to go over the rainbow to get your pop culture fix. Just head to Rainbow Comics, Cards, and Collectibles. They are your one-stop shop for comics, toys, posters, games, and more. Not a pop culture nerd? No problem. They have something for everyone, including a wide array of sports cards, collectible card games, even memorabilia. Stop by one of their 2 locations today. The flagship location at 3310 South Minnesota Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or their newest location at 1501 Pine Lake Road, Suite 17, Lincoln, Nebraska. Most importantly, don't forget to add them on Facebook for pop culture news, weekly live videos, and special events.
Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
Week after week, I'm mesmerized by the focus given great films and questionable films alike. But every episode is a learning and entertaining experience.
This is hands down the best movie podcast. They cover so many different genres across so many years, from obscure movies to blockbusters.
If there's only one podcast about movies and cinema that you listen to, make it this one.
The Projection Booth Podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
All right, we are back and we are talking about Annihilation. So some of the themes that this movie talks about are pretty heavy stuff because it's talking about, you know, this self-destructive nature of humanity and the way that humanity can destroy itself, if that makes sense. I don't know. Did you pick up on that at all?
Yeah.
And kind of the self-destructive nature of human beings and Natalie Portman's character specifically.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of symbolism in this movie that really sort of harps on the destructive nature of human beings and the self-destructive nature of human beings, and you know, how we're sort of afraid of our own destruction, but then we almost go out of our way to cause it for ourselves anyways. And
because Natalie Portman's character destroys her own marriage.
Sure. And they talk about it, it's like the whole reason that we're going into the Shimmer is because it keeps moving out. So there's this fear that this Shimmer is going to one day overtake, large sections of, the country or the world or maybe the whole thing. And so it's like this fear that one day will be gone because this Shimmer takes over everything. So we have to stop it. But then at the same time, we're also doing all of this other stuff that is really self-destructive in other ways.
Right.
It's so there's a lot.
And again, the Shimmer is not destroying anything. The Shimmer is just changing everything.
Yeah, and it's unclear if the Shimmer has any motive at all.
Well, I don't. See, that's the thing. The doppelganger, it almost wants you to think that the doppelganger is malicious, but at the same time, it's clearly not.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think the ending of the movie then calls into question, which is like I think a really shitty thing a really sort of like shitty like side problem that it causes.
Well, that's the thing about the way the film ends is Natalie Portman's character, regardless of whether or not it's the actual Natalie Portman or if it's just fucking Natalie Portman through the Shimmer, she has to become someone else to get her husband back anyways. And that's like the whole point of this film is like she transforms herself to become the person that can love her husband again.
Sure.
And that's what the whole film is about.
And even though her husband is not her husband anymore, it is literally
and she knows
something else. Yeah.
And for me, cheapening the ending by saying they're both not actual human beings, they're both doppelgangers, makes that so lame.
Right, exactly.
Because then it takes all of the punch out of the ending, because the big punch of the ending for me is Natalie Portman accepts that her husband is not her husband anymore.
Yeah, but is still willing to come back and love him because that's the whole reason why she went into the Shimmer in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. And that, for me, is a much more interesting, much more compelling ending than, he's a robot or whatever. And he's a robot, she's a robot, or I guess they're not robots. They're like reproductions of human beings.
But then, what does that mean then? Like, does that mean that they're going to now repopulate the Earth with like this new weird version
the Shimmer's
of
gone.
Humans? Yeah, the Shimmer is gone, but they are still there, and they're like these new, like redesigned humans. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I think the ending. Yeah, I mean, more unfortunate consequences of the ending are that it raises a bunch of questions that like don't need to be raised because.
Well, they're really. I think they're questions that are inherently not interesting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because and we talked about this before. I don't think this film needs a sequel.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
I think this film is going to get a sequel.
Oh, God, I hope not.
Because I think this film is perfect on its own, and the ending is like, but well, they're going to try to set up a sequel.
Yeah.
And the original ending that Alex Garland wanted even set it up more.
Oh.
Which is, it ends with her and Oscar Isaac's hugging, and then you see out the window at the night sky, because they talk about that in the film. You see, like, meteorites shooting by, and there are more meteorites with more of the shimmer in them.
Oh.
Which sounds super fucking lame.
Yeah. I would have liked something in between. Like, I like the ending that they had, just edit the shimmer out of her eyes so that we know that it's her, even though she has changed, but it's her that made it back. And even though she knows that Oscar Isaacs isn't actually him, she still is in love with him and, you know, willing to go the distance for, you know, whoever or whatever came back that is, you know, this new copy or version of her husband.
Which, again, that's what the whole film is about. It's about transforming yourself for someone else.
Or, yeah, it's the only way to make it out on the other side is by transforming yourself.
Right.
Or destroying your old self.
Right. To become someone else.
Exactly.
Or something else.
Which both Oscar Isaacs and Natalie Portman's characters actually physically do. So
right, because and I think for me, the best sci-fi, the best horror are films that have a character that has an internal struggle
The struggle is real, bro.
The struggle's real, brother. That has an internal struggle that is also personified by an external threat. And I know you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Another film that we just watched that we haven't talked about on the Kulturecast. This film also reminds me a lot of The Ritual.
Yeah, totally.
It's the same thing. It's an internal issue that a character is having. He's dealing with survivor's guilt and everything that comes with that, and he has to face a monster to overcome his survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
This film is about a character who has a self-destructive nature that has to overcome that and transform into something or someone else to make it out alive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you have this person who has a self-destructive nature who has to actually self-destruct in order to make it out on the other side. Just like in The Ritual, you have a character who has this insane survivor's guilt and also guilt of sort of like inaction, and has to do exactly what he feels guilty or is afraid of doing and has to take action and actually survive in order to make it out the other side. And so it's almost like facing the worst part about yourself in order to, you know, become who you really are or become somebody else, you know. Yeah, God.
No, yeah, I mean, again, the best kind of sci-fi, the best kind of horror either ignores shit like this completely, which those are some awesome horror movies and awesome sci-fi movies that are just entertainment for entertainment's sake.
Of course, yeah. Not everything has to have a crazy deep message. Like some of the stuff's just awesome and fun.
It's just fun, yeah. But then on the other end of the spectrum, some of the best sci-fi and horror movies are films like this, where it's talking about something. It has something to say about the human condition.
Totally.
And yes, that is going to be boring. Like, I'm going to be honest here. Like, that was one of the things I got into this conversation with one of my friends about. He said it was a boring movie. And let's be perfectly honest, Annihilation is kind of a boring movie. It's not. But hold on. It's
slow
like a Ty
and
West.
boring.
It's like a Ty. Right. It's like a Ty West sci-fi film.
Almost.
Right. Like I'm not saying it's boring, but I could see the argument to be made. I also think, unfortunately, the way that it was advertised set people up for something that it was never going to be in the first place.
Yeah. This movie, there are so many parallels between this movie and 2001 that it's like not even funny. This movie feels like a very modern, new take on something that is very 2001 inspired. It doesn't feel like a ripoff, but there are plenty of times in this movie that I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. This is like 2001.
No, and that's the way I felt when I walked out of this film. I felt like I had seen something that changed the way I experienced the human condition.
Sure. totally.
Really. Like, I don't know if you felt that way, and that may be just kind of blowing this film out of proportion, but the way I viewed this film is maybe the way that people viewed 2001 when they came out of it.
Sure.
2001 is a transformative experience for the first time you see it.
Yeah. I'm sure this movie is going to have that effect on a lot of people. It's going to be one of those movies that I think maybe a lot of people will watch for the first time and go like, what the fuck was that? And then maybe
people will watch
the
this for the
second
first
time,
like 10 years from now. That's the sad part.
Well, and then like maybe the second time, they watch it, they understand it a little bit better. And then maybe once people start to understand the thing that they are watching, they can appreciate the thing for what, for what it is, for what it's talking about, for what, this movie really is trying to, convey. And I think, I had that experience the first time I watched 2001, when you're like a teenager or whatever, and somebody's like, oh, you gotta watch this movie, it's crazy. And there's like this crazy sequence at the end that makes little to no sense the first time you watch it. You're just like, what the fuck? On what crazy drugs were people that like this made sense to put into a movie? But then maybe you watch it, a few years later, and you start to sort of figure out that like not everything is black and white, and not everything is going to be straight up told to you. Like some stuff you have to like actually use your brain and figure out and make connections to, and find the deeper meaning in, and then that makes the stuff that you love that much better, or maybe it makes you fall in love with something that before you just didn't understand.
And I look at the way this film is being received, and it's a disappointment that people are saying that it's just it's too full of shit for its own good, it's too up its own ass for its own good. There need to be films like this, because if there are films like Transformers and the Marvel films that are pure entertainment.
True.
Sorry to burst your bubble. There need to be films that tread a fine line, and sometimes even verge into just being preachy. This film gets kind of preachy in spots, but it's okay, because it's okay.
I also didn't feel like beat over the head with it or anything like that.
Right,
so.
And that's my point. It's preachy, but not in a way where I felt like I was being smothered with the message.
Yeah, exactly.
And the message it's okay. When we talked about a film like Black Panther on the last Kulturecast, there were parts where the message felt like they were just giving the message away for no reason other than because they could.
They're just handing it to you because they're like, here's the message of the movie. And I'm just like, make me work for it. And that's exactly what this movie does. It doesn't hand you anything. It says, figure this shit out, stupid. And yeah, I think that's why I watched the first preview for this movie, and then I didn't look up anything else about it until I went and saw this movie. And I'm
better for it.
And I want people to watch it like that. I don't want people to listen to reviews. I don't want people to even listen to this fucking podcast until you have seen the goddamn movie, because
I am notorious for looking up a movie before I go to see it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even do that for this film.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go into this film 100% clean.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did.
It's one of the best movie going experiences that I've had maybe ever, like in a theater.
How many people were in your theater?
I don't know. Our theater was maybe like half full, maybe. It was a pretty big theater. I went inside at like the ArcLight in LA yesterday, and so it was in a large theater, and I think it was about half full.
So I went and saw it today by myself. At 1 p.m, there were 3 other people.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family, and available wherever you get your podcasts.
People in the theater.
So that's like you and then the actual entire population of Lincoln, Nebraska went and saw the movie all at the same time?
No, okay.
Who was working the projector?
No, hold on a second. First off, Lincoln, Nebraska is not that small. Lincoln, Nebraska is actually quite large for a Midwestern city. The real issue is, I don't think this film is going to be in theaters much longer, and I'm almost tempted to go see it again.
Oh, yeah.
Because you and I both know this film will be gone within 48 hours.
Yeah. If it was playing at a theater that was close by me at like 10:30 tonight, I would go and see it again tonight, but it's not, so I'm probably not going to. But tomorrow night.
I agree with you 100%. I think that this is a film that needs to be seen on the big screen.
Oh my God!
I mean, the sound alone, the sound design in this film and the soundtrack, the music by Ben Salisbury and Jeff Barrow is insane.
Yeah, it's really good.
I mean, if this film's soundtrack comes out on vinyl, I will be the first person to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
No questions asked.
I'm ready to download it onto my phone. I mean, it could be out already. I don't know. Maybe I should look it up and see if the soundtrack is available on iTunes or whatever, so I can just, listen to it or whatever.
You and I may take shit for liking this movie and, you're just a movie snob. That's fine. But if you don't enjoy this kind of movie, I mean, I can't force you to like something like this.
Yeah, no, and this is not for everybody. They're going to be...
it's really not. It's pretty highbrow.
This is some
sci-fi.
divisive ass shit, dude. This is a serious movie. Like, this movie is no fucking joke. So, like, this is a movie that you have to want. You have to be ready for this kind of stuff. Like, you can't just be like, I'm going to go, catch a movie and just be entertained. Like, this movie is not going to do that. This movie is
you have
going
to sit
challenge
and watch it
you
and pay attention.
Yeah, this movie is meant to challenge you and make you think the entire time. And so, like, to just go into this movie and just like to want to hang out and, eat some popcorn or whatever and like chill out for 2 hours, like, this is not that movie. Go see Black Panther. Go see 50 Shades.
Go see Game Night.
Like, go see Game Night. Go see almost any other movie that's out right now. This is not the movie for you if you want to chill out for 2 hours. This is going to be...
Go watch Jumanji again, which is somehow still in theaters.
Oh, yeah. Annihilation is going to be the most stressful 2 hours of your life if you're looking for something to just like hang out and enjoy. So,
And again, I love this movie. You love this movie. Outside of the really goofy ending,
I think it's a perfect movie. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the best movie I've seen all year, and I think when we come to our year-end wrap-up, like we've done the last 2 years, I think that this film is already in the running for my favorite film of the year. I mean, last year, my favorite film of the year was between Get Out and War for Planet of the Apes, with Blade Runner in a close third. Yours was Blade Runner, with no doubt.
Yeah.
And I think that when we get to the end of this year, I think we're going to look back and say, well, shit, this is probably one of the best, if not the best film of the year.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is easily, between this movie and Blade Runner,
I would rather watch this than Blade Runner. And that's like sacrilege because I know how much we combined love Blade Runner.
Sure.
But this film, I think, asks more human questions and has a more interesting perspective than Blade Runner.
They ask some similar questions. They definitely, like, this is, I think the reason that maybe this movie is like a little bit higher on the lists, even for me, I think right now than Blade Runner 2049 this is coming at similar questions to Blade Runner from a completely different angle that is not the Blade Runner angle, because Blade Runner 2049 is a sequel. So it's already, the questions are inherently built into the universe that you're watching. They are the same questions that the first movie asked, maybe asked a little bit deeper and maybe from a slightly different viewpoint or whatever, but they're the same. They're the same questions that the first Blade Runner asked, and they're asking them again, just differently. And this movie is really pointing the finger at different sections of, humanity and what makes us human, and is sort of asking different things out of you. And so I
think is a good thing.
New is always better. That's what I'm going to say, is new is always better. I'd rather see a new, insane sci-fi or horror movie or any genre thing or whatever, as long as it is new, than a rehash, redo, sequel, reboot. Like, I'm sick of that shit. I'm sick of comic book movies. I'm sick of reboots and sequels and, whatever. I want new, and this is new, and it's new in the best possible way.
And I also think that this is the most beautifully shot film that I've seen in like the last decade.
Yeah, this definitely puts Blade Runner. It definitely, gives Blade Runner a run for its money. I think it's definitely different styling.
This movie does more with less.
Yeah, it definitely goes for it's a different approach. It's a more natural approach because Blade Runner is sort of like this big hulking sort of like future brutalist architecture, like with where everything is like very blocky and very like everything is scaled up like to the max. And then on top of that, then they paint these beautiful shots with all these different colors and, like really give everything a sense of scale and feeling with how they frame all of the shots. And it's still one of my favorite shot movies like of all time. It's probably in my top 2 favorite like shot movies. And this movie is probably up there in the top 2 or 3 also, but for different reasons because it's very natural while being supernatural at the same time. It's interesting. It's almost like watching like the world's most insane nature documentary. It's like watching Planet Earth, like if David Attenborough was on LSD.
The film is it's one of those films that, again, it needs to be seen on the big screen.
It should be.
Because of the way it's shot. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, the woods that they are in and the swampland that they are in it's a character in and of itself because it has to be. Because it's the Shimmer. It's this quarantined zone.
Yeah.
And, there's like plants and flowers and weird fauna that are running around.
Yeah.
And for as little as they do to actually explain what it is, it feels like a fully realized world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they definitely do a really good job of building this universe without beating you over the head with exposition about it.
Yeah. So, Eric, what would you give the film out of 5?
I would give it a 5.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ooh. We've been throwing 5s left and right this year already. I think this is the second 5. I think we both have given a film a 5 already this year.
What else got a 5?
Did we not? What did we give a 5? We gave something a 5 like in the last couple months.
I don't know. Blade Runner?
I mean, yeah. Well, no shit. Didn't we gave like all the David Lynch movies like 5s, didn't we?
I don't know if I gave the David Lynch movies a 5.
We gave Blue Velvet a 5 and Eraserhead a 5.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
And Disaster Artist, I think we gave it like almost a 5. And we gave Casino almost a 5. And Thor Ragnarok almost a 5. So like in the last 6 months, we've given like 5 movies, almost 5s.
We're getting generous with our ratings.
Yeah, right. So you would give it a 5.
No, yeah, this is a hard 5. This is a 5 all the way. This is a 6 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think that the ending is a little lame. I think the ending is a little cheap. I think the ending is a little rote. Sure. And when I say rote, I mean we've seen this before.
Yeah.
And when the ending was playing out, I was like, oh, come on, don't do this. Like,
and then
this is a lesser movie.
It's an ending out of a lesser movie. So, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
But that's the problem is that's what you're going to think about when you walk out of the film is the ending. The last thing you saw. And it's like, really?
But I don't know. Yeah, I was so blown away by the whole movie as a whole that like the ending irked me for about 30 seconds. And then after that, I was like, holy shit. I just watched something
but the problem with the ending is the ending affects so much of the prior film that it like, I don't want to think about it. But unfortunately, it affects kind of the way I look back and enjoy the rest of the film, the questions it asks. So, well, what do you think the film has on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh man, I don't know. This feels like one of those movies that like could go either way. Like it'll either have like a really high rating or like a kind of middle of the road rating because it's so divisive. I'm going to say it's like in the 80s. I'm going to go with like 84.
86% certified fresh. The critics' consensus is Annihilation backs up its sci-fi visual wonders and visceral genre thrills with an impressively ambitious and surprisingly strange exploration of challenging themes that should leave audiences pondering long after the end credits rolled.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take another break and we'll play a preview for next week's show.
昭和42年の法務省の世論調査では死刑廃止反対が 71%、賛成が 16%。日本人の間では死刑廃止論ということは全く評判が悪いわけだ。つまり日本人はみんな死刑を肯定しているわけだ。しかしここで死刑を肯定している連中は本当に死刑執行を見たことがあるだろうか、あるいは死刑場を見たことがあるだろうか。この連中は全くそんなことを全然見たことなしに、ただ 人を殺した悪い奴は死ぬのが当たり前だなんて簡単な理由で死刑廃止に反対してるに決まってると俺は思う。この映画は昭和33年小松川女子高校生殺しと言われた朝鮮人青年李珍宇の犯罪をモデルにしている。李珍宇はその後除名運動の高まりに水をかけるようなやり方であっという間に死刑に処せられてしまったけれども、彼が獄中で達した考え方の高さというものは日本の戦後青春のピークに立つもんだと俺たちは思う。で俺たちはその李珍宇を素材にして李珍宇の処刑が失敗して彼がもう一度蘇った。でその蘇った彼をみんなが殺そうとする。彼にもう一度彼がどういう犯罪を犯してなぜ死ななければならないかということを納得させて殺そうとする。そういうフィクションを作り上げ現実に死んだ李珍宇よりももう一段高い人物、俺たちの想像した R という人物を作り出してその人物によって死刑制度それからその死刑をもって我々を威嚇している国家を弾劾する作品を作ろうと考えた。だからといって我々の映画が単に難しい理屈ばっかり言ってると考えられても困る。李珍宇にお前が李珍宇であるということを納得させようとする刑務所の役人たちの動きは全く滑稽でおかしく、それは事実滑稽でおかしい存在でしかない俺たち日本人皆さんたちの姿ぴったりだと思う。それを見て皆さんは笑って笑いながら魂を締め付けられるような痛みを感じるはずだ。俺たちは完璧に死刑場を調べ本物そっくりの死刑場を建て俺たちは全く本物である死刑場を作りそこで全く本物の死刑執行を行いそれによって皆さんが本当に依然として死刑に賛成できるかどうかそれを試してみたい。ここはアートシアターだ。しかし俺たちはアートを作ってるわけでもないし皆さんもここをシアターだと思ったりしないでほしい。俺たちは街頭でデモをしたり働いたりしてるのと同じように俺たちの映画を作り皆さんも街角で遊んだり働いたり喧嘩をしたり人を憎んだり人を愛したりするのと同じような気持ちでこの映画を見てほしい。この映画を見ることが皆さんにとってのやっぱり行動でなければならないと俺は思う。国家はなぜ本の名のもとに合法的に人を殺すことができるのか、なぜ人を殺す権利があるのか。たとえ死刑にさせられたって俺たちは死ぬわけにはいかない。また戦争、国家が国家利益のもとに大量の人間を皆殺しにする、そういう戦争がある限り俺たちは死ぬわけにはいかない。国家がある限り俺たちは何をすることも許される。常に国家には罪があり俺たちには罪がない。国家こそ有罪で俺たちは絶対に無罪なんだ。そういうことを言うために俺たちはこの映画を作った。俺たち、俺とそのゲバラたち。田村勉、佐々木守、深尾道則、吉岡康弘、戸田重章、西崎秀夫、林光、佐藤圭、東良六甲、小松法政、渡辺文夫、小山明子、朝鮮人青年ユン・ユンドウ、石堂敏郎、町田正夫、足立正夫、中島正幸、山口拓司、そして私大島渚。
All right, that's right. On the next Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about Japanese New Wave. We'll be kicking off Mike White March. That's right, we're giving our good buddy Mike White an entire month to put us through the ringer, and he chose Japanese New Wave films because I guess no genre is too obscure for Mike White. So we're going to be talking about Japanese New Wave films.
And I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, well, me either, to be perfectly honest, but we're gonna be doing like Kuato Asked Quaid and opening our minds, so I am very much looking forward to it. Until then, though, Eric, where can people find you?
You can find me on the two forms of social media that I frequent at Tycho Magnetics, where I mostly just do nothing. I don't know.
You like and retweet my tweets when I tweet at you.
Yes, I retweet other people's stuff, and every once in a while get mad about things and run my mouth or take pictures of some obscure piece of old equipment that I have recently fixed or something like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. Other than that, you can slide into my DMs. We could talk about movies or exchange nudes or whatever you like. I'm up for any and all whatevers.
Jesus. Propositioning our listeners right here on the Kulturecast.
I'm just opening the door.
Right. You can DM Eric all you like. I am fortunately married, so do not DM me, please. And you can follow me on Twitter at Kulturestash. You can follow the website over on Twitter at Kultureshocked. Head on over to the website, kultureshocked.com, to find out more about today's episode. You'll find links to iTunes where you can rate and review the show, and to Patreon where you can kick a couple dollars our way. Donors get access to unreleased episodes, DVDs, and the chance to guest co-host a Kulturecast. Big thanks, as always, to Eric and Wavoka, and to my good buddy Justin Scott, a.k.a. The Decipher, for our intro-outro music, and we will see you on the next Kulturecast.
Peace!
Two-step, posted with the crew. Yeah. You know how we do, I'm just two-step. Drink in my right hand, phone in my other hand, getting to the money. Oh man, two-step, posted with the crew. Yeah. You know how we do.
Hey, two-step, you know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 1, 2. Benjamin, aka the Black T, you know what I'm saying? Catch me with my crew every day. Two-step. Oh, my phone in my other hand, like, hello? Oh, get into the money, man. Yeah.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.